Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, it appears that Mr. Glaive Keo has come back at it again with another video on none other than Genshin Impact, and how 5 years later, it still doesn't respect your time. And I already took a look at some of the timestamps over here, right? The good fixes, the half fixes, and the no fixes. And I really am curious as to what these developers have actually reasonably changed over 5 years, because as far as I'm concerned, the baseline issues that I've had with the game are all still in there. So let's go ahead, let's get ourselves situated and find out what exactly is going on over here.
It has been 7 months. 7 months since I put out a video talking about the basic fundamental things Genshin Impact needed to fix to keep up. I went over the usual list of complaints: the lack of any real endgame, the resin system feeling like a chore, the nightmare of managing artifacts without a proper loadout system, basically a long list of features that other games, even games from Hoyoverse themselves, had already figured out.
And that's the part that's the worst of it all, is seeing that Honkai Star Rail launching in 2023, ZZZ in 2024, that these games that came out later that are all by the same parent company have all of these great quality of lives that are just part of the baseline game, so you don't even call them quality of lives, that like Genshin to this day still doesn't have. It's just baffling to me that Genshin still doesn't have a goddamn resin overflow system. Why?
Now here we are, deep into version 6.0. And to be fair, they have released a lot of updates. On paper, it looks like they were listening, but this is Genshin Impact. And with Genshin, you always have to read the fine print. So today we're going to do an audit. We're going to look at what they actually changed, what they improved, and where they gave us a monkey's paw solution.
Oh boy, Auditor Keo in the house, ladies and gentlemen.
You know, if you haven't watched this video yet, it is where you get what you asked for, but it comes with a catch that makes you almost wish you hadn't asked at all. We will break this down into 3 parts. First, we will cover the genuine no strings attached improvements, you know, the things that they actually got right. And then we will get to the so-called fixes that came with a heavy asterisk next to them. And then finally, we will talk about the long list of issues that are still, after all this time, completely ignored. Let's get into it. Let's talk about what they got right. And to be fair, the list is longer than I expected. They did a good job cleaning a lot of the small annoying things. They finally added proper controller supports for Android. This is one of those things that probably should have been there at launch.
Wait, how recent was Android controller support for this game? Because I remember trying to use a connector with like something when like Sumeru was out and it didn't work. Was it like during Natland that they released it? In 6.0 they gave Android support?
You know, 5 years ago. But well, it's here now. And it works, so credit where it's due. They also expanded the number of party slots to 15 with all of the new game modes they've added, each wanting different kinds of teams. This wasn't just a nice change, it was a necessary one. It is a simple fix that makes managing your characters a lot less painful. And you know, having more team templates is just great.
I'm not gonna lie. This video is not getting off to a strong start, because it feels like we're at the point where we're like congratulating, giving ourselves a good pat on the back, right? For these features that do feel like they should have been in the game on launch.
Tracking for quests and bosses also got a much needed update. You don't have to manually open your map, switch to another region, and then zoom in to...
Like, that doesn't look like... Ooh, I got to click the monster in the codex and then it showed where it is on the... like...
find where you're supposed to go anymore. You just click navigate and the game takes you there. Again, it is a small thing, but it removes a layer of pointless friction from the game. Even
I think somebody in chat said it best. This looks like a 1.1 type of quality of life. Like, this is like in the second version of the game that releases, the type of quality of life that you get put in.
The Serena teapot got some attention. There is a shopping cart now, so you can buy multiple furnishings at once. Is anyone excited for this feature?
Guys, the chapter with the good fixes is over in a minute. We're already halfway through, and those really weren't that great.
No? Anyone? Anyone out there? And on that note, one of the most requested features for years was a double artifact drop event. They finally delivered with the overflowing favor event. For a limited time, you get double rewards from artifact domains. It is a huge help for the artifact grind, and it's a feature that should absolutely become a regular reoccurring event. A solid win. But the biggest part—
Wait, they've only ran this once? Wait, was 6.0 the only time they've ever ran that? No way. Nah. Nah. Why is he talking about this like it's new? Wait, I need to do homework on this one. Nah, there ain't no way that this has never happened before. Nah, this got edited. That's not real. There's no way they only ran their 2x artifacts 2 times in the history of the game. Are you telling me in 5 years of service, they've only ran the double artifact event twice? I'm sorry, I'm trying to find the words to describe how I'm feeling about it, because words aren't... This is so pathetic, it's unbelievable. Oh my god. What the fuck?
You get double rewards from artifact domains. It is a huge help for the artifact grind, and it's a feature that should absolutely become a regular reoccurring event. A solid win. But the biggest positive change, in my opinion, addresses one of the most frustrating parts of the game. Pulling a new character you're excited for, only to realize you can't farm their materials for another 2 days because you got them on the wrong day of the week. But now, for the first week a new character or weapon is on the banner, the material domains are open every single day. You pull them and you can start immediately building them. This is a genuinely good change. It removes that feeling of your excitement being put on hold by an arbitrary timer. It is a solid, undeniable win for the player experience. But it also highlights a bigger problem with their overall design philosophy. And we will get into that in a second because...
Just imagine being the dumb motherfucker that pulls on the banner after the first week. Yeah, because the banner is 3 weeks long, brother. It's 3 weeks long, so it's like having the quality of life only on week 1 is just... There's still 2 weeks afterwards. What about those guys? Just go fuck yourself because you didn't have the primos in time?
Good news out of the way, right?
Like, it just feels insulting.
Now let's talk about the features that were technically added, but in the most frustrating tone-deaf way possible. For years, we asked for a permanent endgame, and now we have several. The problem is, they feel less like engaging challenges and more like chores.
This is my take. These half fixes over here are actually worse than no fixes. And the reason for that is simple. All of these things that are going to fall into the half fixes category feel like they are either neutral or they make the situation worse. And the thing is that because they've already been fixed, you know it's not going to be addressed again in the future, or at least the near future, and that it is no longer on, like, the operating table. Hoyoverse is like a surgeon performing a surgery, right? And these half fixes are like, they're like trying to take out your spleen, and like they take out like half of it. The disease part is still there. They only cut out the healthy bit and then sew you back up. That's what these half fixes feel like. And it's like, well, you've got the treatment, so hey, we'll just see how it is. But yeah, we won't be addressing this again until maybe like a year or 2 from now. And you're just left with the fucked up version for the rest of the runtime of the game.
Each one comes with a fundamental flaw. Imaginarium Theater is
like, this thing was dead on arrival because Imaginarium Theater is the most dog shit game mode I've ever seen. Where it's like, oh yeah, by the way, the characters that you get are random. And you also got to build 28 of them. Also, you can only use certain elements.
a good example. It started out as an interesting roster check, okay? A way to reward you for building a wide variety of characters. But it slowly evolved into something that, as one player put it, is just restriction on top of restriction on top of restriction.
Apparently it's 34 characters now for the most intense version of the mode. 32, 34. It will take you longer to like sort the inventory and properly gear and like level up 32 characters to prepare for a run than like the actual time you take on the run itself. Like, you'll take more time gearing the units and like making sure they all have like a plus 16 artifact or whatever, right? That they're all maxed out, they have everything they need, as opposed to just playing the fucking game mode. I swear to you, it is a chore
The latest versions are so demanding with their elemental and character requirements that it's not really a test of skill anymore. It is a test of how deep your roster is, and if you have the specific niche characters they want you to use for that cycle. On top of that, they added the Lunar Arcana system to it. This is a new collectible card system where you get one random card per cycle, right? There are 22 cards in total. So if you manage to get a new one every single time, it will take you nearly 2 years to complete the collection for a single achievement. It is just another layer of slow, tedious grind on top of an already frustrating mode. And then there is
the HSRification of Genshin. They decided to take the simulated universe and bring it here, motherfucker. Oh, you didn't do Golden Gears. Oh, you didn't do any of those. I'm not gonna lie. The Sim U is just one of the biggest jokes I've ever seen from a game before in terms of just the amount of fucking time required to like actually get through it and get all the rewards. And I guess they now got a similar system in Genshin. Enjoy, ladies and gentlemen.
the Stygian Onslaught. This mode is just transparent. They give bosses absurd amounts of health, start you out with 0 energy, and then design mechanics that are perfectly solved by the newest 5-star character on the banner. It is less of a skill check and more of a wallet check. As one comment I saw perfectly summarized it, how to make bosses even harder. Other games, new move pattern, more move sets. Phase 2, Genshin, more HP, even more HP, more HP. But the real insult is the reward. You fight through all of that, you clear the hardest.
Stygian Onslaught is a check to whether or not you can pull every new limited unit that comes out. That's what Stygian Onslaught is. You will not clear it unless you pull on every single 5-star limited character and get them on your account. That's for Fearless mode. For Dire mode, they also have to have multiple constellations. The design of it is just unappealing at a baseline. I don't know how it passed like the temperature check.
Content in the game. For a weapon skin that expires in about 40 days, your achievement has a shelf life. It is hard to see that as anything other than disrespectful to the player's time and effort, to be.
I think it fits hand in hand with the design of the game mode. Hey, we're going to rotate a set of bosses that are unbeatable unless you pull all the new units. We're also going to make it so that your rewards are time-gated too, so that you all got to pull the new units. It's really all just done in an effort for you as a player to pull all of the new units. That's the entire design of the system. And when you think about it that way, the time-limited weapon rewards actually make a ton of sense.
To be honest with you, there is also an event that gives you free constellations, and you might think that, oh, they're buffing older units, which should have been a huge, uncontroversial win. Came with a catch. The idea is great. The execution is tilting. They conveniently left out the characters whose early constellations are genuinely great, like Kazuha or Yelan. We also got the level 100 thing, which is designed in a way that it mostly benefits hyper whales or day 1 players who have lost the 50-50 so many times that they already have a C6 GG. It was a chance to make a huge part of the roster more appealing to everyone, and they just missed. But if you want to see the most blatant examples of Hoyoverse not listening, you just have to look at the 2 most requested features of all time.
I feel like their free constellation system really is just a highlight of who the fuck is useless in the game. That's genuinely what it is. I think that the free constellation system is literally just there to show you, yeah, this is a piece of garbage that we power crept. Here's a free copy of them because it's not like you were using them anyways. We didn't lose anything. It's not like you're going to pull on the rerun banners because they're useless anyways. It's basically like a clearance sale of like goods that are all expired. Great. Thank you for giving me these 45-day-old cookies for $1. Awesome. I'm totally going to eat them and get diarrhea explosively for the next 5 days. What a great deal. Because that's what it's like using a Hu Tao in the Spiral Abyss nowadays.
A skip button and artifact loadouts. This one is the most unbelievable. They announced a one-click skip for the quest, and everyone thought, finally. But it wasn't a button to skip dialogue. It was a button to fast-forward the in-game clock, a shortcut for a menu we already had. The way it was advertised was so misleading. You have to assume they knew exactly how the people would react. I mean, look at all of those Hoyoverse content creators. They were like, oh, finally a skip button, bro, why?
Just like how they all collectively jizz their pants for the artifact loadout that had already been in the game for 2 years.
The artifact loadouts were even worse, in a way, because
not pre-watched, by the way.
They didn't just mislead us, they gave us something we
not pre-watched, I swear.
Had already rejected. They didn't build a new system where you can just save your own.
I promise you, the video came out like fucking 17 hours ago.
Pick sets of artifacts and gears. They just took their old, terrible, auto-generated loadout feature that nobody uses because it's so bad and gave it 2 save slots. And
I'm just gonna be honest over here. When you realize that that's all they did, they took the feature nobody was using, let you double the capacity of the feature nobody was using, and then try to repackage and reship it, is genuinely hilarious. I'm going to be real with you. It's genuinely funny that they just repackaged what nobody was using before, tried to advertise it again, doubled it, and still nobody uses it. You would think that they would just fix it by now, but they don't want to.
that was the entire update. It is not a solution, it's a joke. And this pattern of being just slightly out of touch extends to the other updates too. They are always one step behind. Take the Strongbox, for example. They finally added the Natlan artifact sets to it, right as the game moved on to the next region, not Cry. So the crafting system is perpetually outdated.
They don't even have the new Natlan sets either, though, right? Aren't there still like 4 more Natlan sets that still need to be added here?
It never has the new sets that people are actually trying to farm right now. It is the same story with the treasure compass. The new features that help you find chests and puzzles are so good, but they only work in Natlan. The other 6 major regions we have spent years exploring are still stuck with the old clunky system. It is a good feature, but
you wanna know why, Glaive? It's because you're not meant to do the exploration in Sumeru, Leeway, or Mondstadt, or Fontaine. You're not meant to do the exploration in any of those regions. You wanna know who is? The account pilot that you hired in the Philippines. That's their job. And don't worry, they don't need a treasure compass. They're a professional.
But it is applied in the narrowest way possible. And speaking of half measures, they finally addressed the request for permanent events with the Sunspray Summer Resort from version 5.8. The area and its main story quests are permanent additions, which is great. However, all of the event minigames and the limited time rewards are gone forever. So new players get the story, but they miss out on the engaging content and valuable rewards that came with it. It is another classic Genshin compromise that gives you half of what you ask for.
I think time limited, it is what it is, right? Time limited events, and then the rewards for that. I think having the mini games be available is probably a fair take, but I can see the reason for, you know, in a gacha game, right? You want people logging in. You don't want somebody to be incentivized to like log out for months, log back in, and then have everything, you know, feel like they didn't miss out on anything, right? But they already have that in the daily system already built in. So it's kind of just like, I see what's going on over here. I think the take can go both ways.
Which brings us to the ugliest part of this audit, the massive list of problems from 7 months ago that haven't been touched at all. It seems that some things are just never going to change, unfortunately. After all these changes, you still have to physically run to Catherine to claim your daily commission rewards. It is a pointless trip that you're forced to make every single day. A simple claim button in a menu would fix this, but
there's really no excuse for this one. Yeah, you should be able to just do your dailies from the UI instead of having to open up your map, teleport, walk over to this NPC, open up the dialogue, and then select the dialogue.
Here we are. Past event weapons are still gone forever. If you weren't playing during that specific 3-week window,
HSR has their event weapons in the shop. I don't see any reason why this game doesn't have some way to acquire them. Yes, I know there's a ton of Farina owners out there that are like literally like they're on their 13th reason why because they can't get Festering Desire.
3 years ago, you will never get Festering Desire or Cinnabar Spindle. These
Cinnabar Spindle doesn't matter because nobody's using Albedo.
Aren't even 5-star weapons, but they're locked away like they are. You still have to teleport to a city to use a crafting bench. You run out of condensed resin in a domain. Get ready for 2 loading screens just to make more.
Sounds like the Mia boss fight in Wuthering Waves.
Every other modern gacha game lets you craft from a menu. And for some reason, Genshin insists that running back and forth, it's essential gameplay. It is in the lore. Like what? Who cares? And the material grind is still unnecessarily painful. You still have to wait 48 real-world hours for local specialties to respawn. Well,
that's only a problem if you don't have friends, Glaive.
You know, the 168 flowers or rocks that you need to ascend a single character, and with the
because you can just go to their world and steal their shit.
Newer regions, some of these materials are locked to a very specific small areas. It's fantastic. Oh, it's amazing. This is a problem other games have solved. In Wuthering Waves, for example, character and weapon materials are often the same, and everything you need respawns daily. In Genshin,
stop comparing! Stop comparing! How dare you compare Genshin Impact or Hoyoverse games to other games? Stop pointing out the ways that Genshin could get better. It's toxic.
Have 3 different talent books per region, weapon materials, and world materials, all on different timers. It is a level of complexity that just doesn't add fun. It adds friction. Oh yeah, but you can farm it for a week though. Yeah, and that's a good change. But why don't you go through all the way? Make it every day, every time. Why is it only gotta be a week? And while we are talking about materials, you still can't convert your useless overworld boss traps. Everyone who has played for a while has hundreds of things like hurricane seeds or lightning prisms just sitting there, right? Completely useless. And while you are desperate for materials from a new boss, a simple conversion system would fix this, right? But it's not here. It's still not here. The rerun system is still a mess. Characters can disappear for over a year. The chronicled
That's cooked.
which was supposed to be a solution, but with its shared pity system and limited pool,
13 versions? Brother, what that means that they were last live like over a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years.
it is not the fix people wanted. It is a band-aid, not a cure. And the weekly bosses are still gated in the same restrictive way. You need a specific material from a specific boss, but you can only get 3 discounted resin claims per week. And you're pushed to fight 3 different bosses. You can't spend all 3 in the same boss, why would you? So you're still at the mercy of RNG, hoping you get the one material you actually need. And finally, there is the new problem, one that has become more obvious now that Hoyoverse's other games are out. In Honkai Star Rail and Zenless Zone Zero, they buff and adjust old characters to keep them relevant. It is a normal, healthy thing for a live service game to do, am I right? The Genshin community has been begging for this, for some love for the original characters that have been completely left behind by power creep. And
I think Genshin was actually fine, not even addressing the issue at all, until they got to version 5.3 and then fucking ruined the game, right? And the thing is, when you already know that games like HSR and ZZ have ruined the balance in their game, HSR with Super Break and all that other shit that followed, right? And then ZZZ with Miyabi turning Ellen into the most worthless unit in the game, right? They already had their moment where the balance got fucked up completely. And then they've started making updates, right? To the balance, to the end game, all of that, so that the older characters can, well, only some of the older characters in HSR can complete the end game, right? And the thing with Genshin is that they're in the HSR phase where the 1.x roster is literally useless. Like, they're literally not playable. They don't clear any content. You cannot do anything with them. And then there's also no changes. So it's like where HSR was during like 3.1, 3.2, 3.3. Because God knows the balance in that game was just not there. But that's been Genshin since 5.3. The balance of the game has not been there.
from Hoyoverse, we hear absolute nothing. Just silence. I don't even know if they're listening at this point. So where does that leave us?
Probably
Has
not.
Genshin Impact actually improved in the last 7 months? On one hand, yes. Some of the small frustrating corners of the game has been smoothed out. The day-to-day experience is a little bit cleaner, and I'll give them credit for that. But when you look at the big fundamental issues, the elephant in the room, the things that actually matter for the long-term health of the game, the
There's nothing.
Picture gets a lot worse. Respecting the player's time, delivering on promises without misleading advertising, creating permanent, rewarding content that doesn't feel like a setup for the next banner. On all of these fronts, they have either failed, baited us with a worse solution, or given us a monkey's paw. And when you step back, a very clear pattern emerges. Hoyoverse is perfectly willing to make an active grind more efficient. For example, they have made it so you can spend 40 resin directly at a domain for double rewards. And they buffed condensed resin to give triple the rewards for 60 resin. They make it faster to spend your resin, faster to get your materials for a brand new character. Anything that improves the experience while you are actively playing, they seem open to. But they are incredibly resistant to any change that gives players flexibility or value when they're not playing. A resin reserve system for a busy day? Nah. A way to get an old event weapon you missed? Nah. A truly permanent reward that you don't have to re-earn? Nah. And at the end of the day, the daily login is still king. And
I think the big thing is that Genshin doesn't seem to ever compromise when it comes to FOMO. If they can find a way to make a feature more annoying or more disgusting or just more inconvenient in an effort to get you to log on and play, they will keep the feature annoying and disgusting and ridiculous. And it's just so clear by now where they've even designed endgame modes that are impossible unless if you missed the banner of a character. Guess what? If you don't have that lunar charge, good luck beating whatever boss needs lunar charge to beat it, right? It's just stuff like that. It's just, if you aren't here every single day, if you aren't here for every single banner, if you aren't here for every single event, you will be having a bad time. And that's just kind of what the game has become, right? There's a reason why they have time-limited story content in Genshin all the time. Time-limited story content all the time. Because you even gotta log in every day if you want to keep up with the lore of the game.
almost every major fix we've seen feels designed to funnel you right back into that daily loop, or into pulling for the next shiny new character. So the game is better in some very small ways, but the core problems, the philosophy behind its design, remain exactly the same. But that is just my take. I want to know what you all think. Do these changes actually make a difference for you? Is it enough? And what is the one thing you are still waiting for them to fix? Let me know down in the comments below. If you appreciated this honest audit of the game, a like and subscribe would be amazing. It helps out the channel a lot.
Awesome vid by Glaive over here. I think bro literally went through the laundry list of all the things that, you know, kind of had like a bit of some minor things done to help them out. Some of the things that are absolutely just in a state of no man's land because an attempt has been made but nothing's been fixed. And of course, the spam of everything that's still broken in the game. And it turns out, after 5 years, not a lot has actually been fixed, has it? I'm still absolutely, completely, 1,000,000% baffled that they've only ran their double artifact event twice. That's hilarious. I think that this is objectively one of the funniest fucking things I've ever seen. I genuinely think this is hilarious. I'm just going to be honest with you. That will be that for that one, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you all thought about Glaive's video, what you all thought about our thoughts on it, and peace out.